Hey gorgeous, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we are finally doing it. We are finally doing a Hoya collection video. Am I a little bit scared? Yes, I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I do have to go out later this morning, so I may or may not get it filmed in one clip. We may end up having to go over to some filming tomorrow, but that is for future Amy to know and for current Amy to find out. So last year I filmed a Hoya collection tour. It was this video here. It might have been around the same time of year actually. It's like right at the beginning of March currently. I can't remember what time of year I filmed it last year, but I know it was like earlier in the year. Back then, I'm pretty sure I had 16 Hoya in my collection and then I had 16 Hoya on my wish list. I won't be doing a wish list in this video. I haven't got too many, I don't think, on a wish list now. I feel like I've got quite a few of them. If there is like enough to do like a dedicated video, let me know if you want to see that and I will film it, but today we are just focusing on what I have in my collection. I have very much been putting off this video because it feels really daunting to do it. I think I've gone, like I said, I had 16 in my collection last year and I think I'm around the 70 mark now, so it just it feels daunting to be filming 70 plants today. However, what I've decided to do is the way I've got my Hoyas displayed is on my plant shelves and cabinet, which is over here, and I'm just taking it like a section at a time. So I've taken all of the Hoyas out of one section, they're on the table next to me, and I'm going to talk through those and then put them all back, and then if I've got time to carry on, I'll move on to the next section and so on and so forth. But let's just get into it, shall we? So what I will try to do is obviously tell you the Hoya's name, what it's potted in, where I got it from, how long I've had it, and show you a picture of the blooms. Chances are I will forget to say that information as we go along, so I will also try and have it like written on the screen for each Hoya. I know editing me is going to really hate that, but I feel like it'll be useful information for you to have. Regarding the substrate that I have them potted in, it's really just like based on a gut feeling or based on what they arrived in. So if I purchased them and they were in soil, they're probably still in soil. If I purchased them and they were in pon, or if they were a cutting or something, they're probably still in pon or semi-hydro. If they were a cutting, I probably have them in water. Some of them are still in water. There's no rhyme or reason as to what substrate they're in. It's just kind of whatever I'm drawn to at the time of potting them up. I am just going to start with my Hoya polyneura, my green one. This is one that I actually don't have on the shelves and cabinet. I've got it hung up, so I'm worried I'll forget about it. So if I don't talk about it now, it may not happen. So I just wanted to show her off. I've had her for a really long time. She is in a she's in a soil substrate. I can't completely remember where I bought her from. She was a beautiful, like quite a big plant when I bought her. She settled in really well. She's absolutely been a favourite for such a long time. And then a couple of years ago, she got mealybugs, like quite bad, and I really struggled to get rid of them. The only way I've ever like successfully gotten rid of mealybugs from a plant is to cut it all up, completely like throw the base out, get rid of the roots, and soak it into some soak it in some horticultural soap and water, like a mixture of that, and then kind of what I did was this one, I soaked it in that mixture and then I put the cuttings into like their own container, let them just sit in there for a little bit because there was nothing else in there but the humidity from the mixture and like 'cause it was a sealed container was enough to keep them alive for a little bit. And then I think I put them into water to root them, and now we're here. At the time I did have, there's a fungus gnat. I got it. At the time I did have a online plant shop and I did sell some cuttings. Obviously they were pest free, and I kept some of the cuttings for myself to have my own version. These two sections here, I absolutely love. I love the polyneura so much. So that is the first Hoya on my list. She's absolutely a favourite. I have a couple of other polyneuras, none of which you'll see today, but I just said you won't see my other polyneuras today, but of course you will because this is all going to be in one video. That is one of my biggest Hoyas, like that one and Well, no, I suppose I have got a few. Like, I still consider that one and my linearis my biggest, but like my middle section of my cabinet, which I'm assuming I'll go to next, has my bigger ones that don't fit on the smaller shelves. So I have got some big Hoyas. I do. I need to give myself some credit. Like, they're not a terrible size. Anyway, the rest of the ones today are on the smaller size, small to medium size. This is my Hoya Mathilde, and you guys, I love this Hoya Mathilde so much. I've really helpfully helping myself out. What I've done, so on almost all of my Hoyas, I have a little photo attached to them. I haven't got it on my polyneura. I think I've got it on one of the smaller ones. But it's a little photo of what the blooms look like. And I have got almost all of the photos off of Instagram. So obviously, typically this is just for me. So I've just printed it off the internet. I think that's completely okay. I'm going to be sharing them in this video, just printed off like this. So really, I would like to be able to give credit to the original source. I'm hoping, there's a hair in my hand. I'm hoping that I'll be able to find the photos. If I can't, I'm really sorry. Oh my God, fungus gnats. I'm pretty sure there might be the odd one that I had to get off Google, but I'm pretty sure the majority of these I got off of Instagram, and if you typed in the name of the Hoya, you'd probably come across it too. Anyway, Hoya Mathilde is a cross between a Hoya carnosa and a Hoya serpens. Yeah, that is correct, which I've helpfully... So I've got the name and the cross. If I know it's a hybrid, I've tried to put what the hybrid is. And the blooms are these cute little fuzzy, I think they're like slightly green, because I'm pretty sure the serpens flowers are a little bit green. And what I've done, which is also really helpful, is on the back, I've handwritten when I got it. So I've had this one since July 2023. I remember getting this one. I'm pretty sure I actually filmed unboxing this. It was a unboxing from Harriet's Plants. And it was this teeny weeny little, I mean, I feel like it hasn't really grown, but I know it has. It was a teeny weeny little Hoya Mathilde. I love the darkness of the leaves. Like, some of them are slightly lighter. Like, you can see this strand is darker than this one. I think they've just grown in different light conditions. I love the silver speckling on these leaves. I'm a big fan. Looks like a starry night. Like, how stunning. I love. It's been a really easy Hoya. I am definitely due for a repot. It's very dry in there, but it is in a soil mixture. But yeah, I really do enjoy this one. This is one that I think I want to grow as a trailer, although it seems to have different ideas. But I like some of them. Some Hoyas I'm like, I know straight away if I want them to be a trailer or a climate. Nope. No, wait, that is right, isn't it? Whether I want them to be a trailer or like on a trellis. And some Hoyas I go back and forth and I cannot decide. Like, I've seen some nice photos of this trellis, but I do like it when it just trails and it's like a solid block of like these beautiful dark leaves. So I think I'm going to keep with it trailing. Next up is another Mathilde, which I got last year, August 2024. I don't have the little like snapshot for this one because I'm pretty sure the blooms would be exactly the same. So I didn't double print, but I purchased this because, so it was in a garden centre. The garden centre it was Whitehall. It was the one in Chippenham. I'd got a voucher for my birthday, which is why I remember when I got it, because my birthday's in August. And I went up there and I just had a little mooch around. I got a couple of orchids and I got this Hoya. And I picked this one up, even though it's Mathilde, and I've already got Mathilde. I picked this one up because of how silver it was. Like, it was just in amongst all of the other Mathildes. And this one, whilst it had a lot of the green, so I've got several little cups of green Mathilde propagating. And I separated out the really silver strands so that I could have a Hoya Mathilde silver. But look how stunning. Like, I remember, like, do you guys know Kevin not Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Maplanta? Is that it? Something like that. I remember watching his Hoya videos just because, like, this was back when I wasn't really into Hoyas. But I remember him watching them and having like such a love for the silver Hoyas. And I was like, I don't see it. And I still think it's really hard to capture the beauty of a silver Hoya, or like any silver plant actually, through a camera. The like the silverness doesn't do anything for me unless it's in real life. But it's the contrast between the really dark leaves and the silver. Like, I'm sorry, I really don't feel like it's going to show up on like camera how beautiful that is. Like, I remember looking at these videos and being like, I just don't really see the appeal, but in person, I absolutely love it. And what I love is that when they start coming in, these aren't really, I think this strand actually is going to be more green, but that's okay, I can just chop it off. But when they start coming in, like the Wilbur graves is a really good example of that. It's really hard to see how silver they are, and then they start to harden off and you're like, there's that silver. But I love it. Like, I can tell that is going to be very silver, but sometimes you can't. And look, it's got a bit of pink sun stressing on it. Ah! That's so cool. I love these like half and half leaves. It's very, very cool. I'm a big fan. So Hoya Mathilde Silver, or is it Hoya Mathilde Splash? I don't know, but I bought it as a normal Mathilde. And there was a couple of strands in there that were really, really silver, and I've really lucked out on the genetics. Big, big fan. I love it. This next Hoya, this is what it looks like. I've got it on, is it the first one? It's the first one I've shown you trellis, isn't it? So a lot of my trellises are from the bearded, I will obviously have it on the screen, but I can't remember if it's like bearded botanists or bearded botanicals or what, but they're on Etsy. The last Hoya video I did, I think was, like, it wasn't a collaboration, I don't think, but they'd gifted me some of these because I'd reached out, because I couldn't find, I think they're a bit more, are they? I want to say they're a bit more readily available in the UK now, but I couldn't find any of these like acrylic trellises, both the clear ones and this one's the holographic. So you're seeing it in like the pinky orange bit, but it's really blue on my side. Ooh, look how pretty. I couldn't find any of these trellises in the UK last year, and it was bugging me because I want, like, whilst I can appreciate the beauty of a trellis, I want it to be almost invisible. Like, I don't want it to be part of what the plant looks like. Like, I know you can get these really like beautifully intricate kind of designs, but that for me distracts from the plant. Like, I want the plant to be center stage. I don't want the trellis to be like drawing the attention away from it. So I have a lot of the clear ones, and I've got like a little handful of the iridescent ones, which I do love. Went off on a little trellis rant there. I don't know what this Hoya is for definite. Like, this is what it's looking like. It's doing really well. Like, for a long time, it was very unhappy and it didn't really grow. But we've got like this vine here, but there's also these leaves. There's this one and this one. This is a whole new vine, or a tendril, whatever you want to call it. An old Instagram friend who's no longer on Instagram, she just vanished out of the plant world a couple of years ago now. She just went away and has been gone ever since, and I hope she's doing okay. But yeah, I suppose there's a few of us that did well. There's a few people that did that. Like, I've spoken to loads of people over the years through the plant community online, and some of them are still around and some of them are completely gone, and some of them are still around but don't speak anymore, like myself. I'm not very good at having conversations anymore. But this particular friend, her name was Jo, she sent me a little package after me and my husband got married in October 2021, and this plant was in it. It was a tiny little cutting, and she did tell me at the time what it was, and I cannot find, like, I've scrolled back through our messages and there was a lot, and I cannot find the name of the Hoya. Like, it's just gone. I've done, like, where I've mentioned it in a couple of videos, a few of you have like said maybe it's this, and I think when I've like gone through and like tried to match up the details, I've named it as a Hoya obscura. I don't know if it's that. Like, it feels, when I first saw the word obscura, I was like, oh, that rings bells. Maybe that is what she said it was. But I can't I can't find that message at all. I don't know if anybody knows for definite now that it's definitely happier than it was last year. It's one that's in pond that needs a repot. Look how gross that is. Oh God. These are the blooms. Like, I would really love for it to bloom. They're little fuzzy pink balls. How adorable. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know for definite what this is. If it blooms and they look like that, I'll know for definite that it is an obscura, but who knows? There's no evidence that it's going to bloom. But yeah, there's that one. Next up is one of my newer ones that I got this year. This is a Hoya finlaysonii, and oh, I love these leaves. I got it in September of last year, 2024. I love everything about these. I love how veiny it is. I love the colour of the green. I love that it's got a slight kind of like, oh, I want to say prehistoric vibe, but I think it was Betsy Begonia went on like a little rant about everybody calling some like plants prehistoric when they don't look prehistoric at all, and like she was like showcasing plants that are actually prehistoric that we still have today. And Hoyas ain't one of them. But it's got that kind of like, you know, crusty vibe to it, which we do describe as prehistoric, but it's got a slightly kind of serrated edge. The back is got a bit of fuzz to it. It is, I've realised today, pushing out a new growth point, which is great, but I was actually going to cut that section off and put it down into the soil to have two. It is in soil, it's very dry, I need to give it a drink. And the blooms are not that exciting to me. I think I prefer, I suppose, I feel like some photos of the finlaysonii blooms are cuter than others. I feel like I've printed off like a cuter one. So it's got like in this one, it's got the purpley kind of hue to the leaves, the petals on the flower. But some of them look more of a brown, which not quite a vibe. But this one I have for the leaves. Like, some Hoyas I got for the flowers, some Hoyas I got for the leaves, and some I got for both. But yeah, I love these leaves. I really wish I'd cut it before it started pushing out a new growth. It's really annoying. I don't know what to do. Do you think I should still cut it? I don't want to like stop that growth. Maybe I should give it a chance to like get going, because it's right at like nubbin level. I know this trellis is not doing anything, by the way. I got these heart-shaped ones off of Amazon. I'm not really the biggest fan of heart-shaped things, but I thought for some Hoyas it would be good. I literally just put it in there because this is quite a wobbly one, and I just wanted it to have a little bit more of like support instead of flopping around. So yeah, that was why I did that. I will try to have everything that I talk about linked down below. Some of those links will be affiliate links, some of them won't be. I won't have my glass vessels linked. Typically, a lot of my glass vessels are either like, some of them are like leftover jars, some of them are tea light holders, some of them are literal like glasses to drink out of that I've bought from like Houseplants. I feel like I sound out of breath. I'm trying to talk really quickly. I don't feel like I'm breathing properly. Whew. This next one I have two cuttings of. It is the Hoya manipurensis, which was on my wish list last year. It was like a big, I need this Hoya in my life vibe. And I think I got the original cutting off of Etsy, and then maybe like a week or two later there was another listing on eBay, and it was like a bit bigger and it was a similar price, and I was like, why not, kind of thing. And I'm really glad I did, because the original cutting from Etsy, another reason, so I also backtrack. The original cutting from Etsy was sun-stressed, and I was not, like, I feel like when I purchased it, it didn't look like that, but it arrived sun-stressed, and I'm not a fan of sun-stressing on this particular Hoya anyway. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. And that original cutting has not done anything. Not done anything. So, I'm lying. It started to do something. Wow. That has taken months. Oh my God. I think I got that original one in like July last year, and then the second one in August, or at least I have August written on the back of here. Wow. That is insane. Let me just show you. Okay, hang on. Let me show you manipurensis blooms are not it. They're weird. They almost look like Dischidia blooms, but apparently this is definitely a Hoya. But yeah, nothing exciting. So this long one is the second second Hoya that I got. And you can see like the original, so these leaves here that are backwards, that was the original cutting. So this growth point here, this extra long bit, has grown in my care. And I love these leaves. I think it gets called the butterfly Hoya because it looks a little bit like butterfly leaves. Fern, Wild Fern said in a video that it reminds her of like a staghorn leaf, which I can totally see the vibes, but they're like a little bit veiny and I love them. But as I was saying, the original cutting, it's hard to show you. The original cutting came sun-stressed. Oh, I'm dropping pon. And I thought maybe that'll fade because it's not directly under a grow light, but it's not faded, I don't think. And it hadn't been growing. I don't know if I'll be able to show you. Can you see that little white dot? That is where the pond's just knocked some new growth. It's actually got new growth on both sides of the node, which is really, really exciting. I did not think that was, I just thought that was good, like a dud node. That's so exciting. Oh, I was thinking like, I want to cut this one, like the longer bit, because I would like a bushy babe. This is one where I've not been able to decide whether I want it to be like a trailer or a trellis one. I think I'm leaning more towards trailing. Because I think there are some really pretty pictures of it trailing. But I feel like it's one that doesn't necessarily naturally want to trail. I don't know how many I've gone through yet, but it's taken a long time. I've already been filming for half an hour. Next up, we have one that I do need to read to get it right. Hoya species Papua. That pronunciation might be completely wrong. IM08. And I got this one in October 2024, so last year, and it's doing really well. It was an Etsy. I think it was an Etsy purchase. It's in semi-hydro, and like at first I was really worried about it because the seller had put a little note to say that it can be a tricky one to root because it was like a fresh cutting, but it's actually done really, really well. I've got two tendrils that are just like swirling around. Obviously it's on this teeny weeny little heart-shaped trellis, and I don't completely know what to do with it because it's actually more of an aggressive grower than I thought it was going to be, but it's a very tiny leafed Hoya, so I thought tiny leaf, tiny trellis, like let's get it to just really fill up and look really cute, but it could go on a bit of a bigger one. I don't know, maybe I should chop it. The seller did very kindly send it with, so the cutting I got has two peduncles, so let me see if I can show you. There is a peduncle just here, and there is a peduncle just here. This one dropped the blooms that were on it when I purchased it straight away, and this one also dropped the blooms, but it has kept trying. So there's two, you see them? Yeah, you can, can't you? There's two little blooms on there out of that peduncle, and this is the furthest they've ever got. Like, they've normally blasted by now. They are tiny, tiny, tiny little blooms. This is what they look like. I mean, they're tiny blooms now. They are like, they give me like starfish vibes, like the shape of those petals and the kind of fuzziness. Do they not remind you of a starfish? I really do want it to bloom for me, and I hope that those ones don't blast. So let me show you the leaves. So they are very tiny, very dark. You can kind of see the veining on some of them. This one is slightly orange. I think that's coming across. Potentially a bit sun-stressed. Not really a fan. But it's it's doing really well. There are little leaves coming in everywhere. Like there's one up here. I don't know what to do. Like, if you have this Hoya, how do you have it displayed? Like I feel like the trellis that the Obscura was on, like that kind of circle, like this kind of size, I feel like would be really cute for it to fill up. So maybe I need to try and untangle it. Fungus gnat literally just flew right in front of my face. Maybe I need to try and untangle it now and kind of get it wrapped around, because these tendrils, like this one has been tangled up in the Obscura on the shelf, and then this one has been wrapping around the shelf leg, the actual shelf itself. But there are so many little leaves that I could potentially knock off whilst doing that, but I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. I like the little kind of round leafness. Next up, this Hoya. Why didn't I write on it when I got it? I reckon this one I must have got in like September of last year as well. And this is one that I feel so excited about, but I'm also like, the excitement is just dwindling into like a despair. Feels too dramatic, but it's kind of the vibe. It is, although I suppose we are in a better place than we were. My God, it's so accurate. This is my Hoya dennisii Frida, which, if you know this Hoya, is it not stunning? I mean, not mine, but the Hoya itself. It is a beautiful, beautiful, like the leaf shape is quite simple. Let's just start there. Leaf shape's quite simple. It's quite thin. There is a little bit of like the 3D veining. Obviously it is variegated. This is not the most variegated. I've seen much more variegated. The variegation is bright yellow. Obviously you can get these kind of limier ones. This is the back of the leaves. Obviously I've got it in semi-hydro and it's rooting. There was once some hope. You see that little nub in there? I thought it was starting to grow, but it's been like that for a very, very long time. And I don't know if it is going to grow. I did, in a recent unboxing from Plantopus, I did get another one, and I'm pretty sure, so if you haven't watched that video, I'd ordered a box from Plantopus, who is based in Germany. The order that was originally sent still hasn't arrived. So, like, those plants are definitely dead. Ben, who owns Plantopus, sent out another box, which was very, very kind of him. But because in the original box, I'd purchased, like, the last listing of a couple of things. So I purchased a small plant of the Hoya dennisii Frida. But obviously when he sent it out again, there wasn't another small plant. So he gave me another fresh cutting, which I obviously appreciate. Like he resent everything that I ordered with extras, which was, you know, really kind, really generous, and really good for a shop to do. Like, you know, as a shop, you have to take responsibility when things don't rock up. But I was gutted that I didn't get the plant of the Hoya Frida, because I'm so scared that this one's not going to do anything. It's not going to grow. The cutting from him it's definitely struggling. It's influval. When it arrived, it wasn't the most happy. Like, this yellowing isn't the variegation. It is just the plant not being very happy. But again, it's got like that little growth point. There's a root here. I'm actually going to take it out and put it into something taller so I can get that root closer to the substrate to encourage it to actually start rooting. I don't think that growth point is dead, but I don't know if it's changed. But the hope is that both of these together will one day make a beautiful plant that will one day bloom, because the blooms are stunning. Like, this is definitely one that I like the blooms and the leaves. They're quite a decent size. Like, you know, some Hoya blooms are like massive. They're not massive, but they're a good size, and they're that just beautiful, beautiful pink colour. I want that in my life so bad. Please, 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 please. Please. Up next, this is my Hoya Wilbur Graves, which I got from, this is a cutting from Claire's Hoya, the Nope. What is her handle? The Jungle Haven, that is her handle, Claire from the Jungle Haven. So her friend Emma, who is good growing, runs another plant swap with Lisa, whose handle is Happy Plant Collector, I think. And I've been to a couple of their another plant swaps, the ones that they do here in Bristol. Last year it was in March, and Claire came to that one. I spotted the Hoya Wilbur Graves on her table for swapping, and I was like, need need that in my life. And we did a swap. What did I swap it for? I think there was like fishbone cactus in it. We did like a couple, because I got a couple of Hoyas from her, and I think she took a couple from me as well. Maybe the fishbone cactus and another cactus. Can't remember. Anyway, it's in semi-hydro. I probably need to put some water in here. I think it was just these two leaves when I got it, so it pushed out this one, and then obviously it's done this whole tendril. Look how silver. And this is one that, like, these two leaves are still pushing out. They're still like soft, like I'm not going to touch them. But this is really one that it's hard to tell, like, how variegated, like how silver it's going to be, because, like, I'd say only over the last couple of days I've been able to see that these are properly silver leaves. It does just look like the colour it comes in is really, really bizarre, but again, I don't think you can really see the beauty of this Hoya. I love this half and half. So pretty. It's on another bearded botanist's trellis, and it is flying off of it. I don't always know what to do with a Hoya trellis, like a Hoya trellis or Hoya tendril. Like, I know there's lots of information about like the way they wrap. Like, naturally they, like, if you leave a Hoya on its own, it will naturally tendril anti-clockwise, and so if you try to trellis them and wrap them around clockwise, you can kill that vine off, or just halt it won't do anything. So it's like good to do anti-clockwise when you're wrapping them. And there's a few different kind of videos I've watched where people have said you shouldn't bend a vine downwards, and whilst I do sometimes do that, like I'm pretty sure there's a couple where I've bent them downwards, because part of me is like, I don't really care. Fungus gnat. Part of me is like, I don't really care, because I guess if you bend it down and it does die, it will just shoot off growth from somewhere else and just eventually make a thicker, fuller plant, which is good. Part of me doesn't want to do that with this one just yet. Like, I've been thinking I might chop it to make it like a fuller plant with more tendrils. I don't know. Like, would you bend this down and get it to go to the trellis? Like, if it was longer and when I like wrapped it round it came back up here, I would do that straight away in a heartbeat, and that might end up being what happens. Like, I've done that a couple of times and it's been fine. But to just point it downwards, I don't know if I should do that. But Hoya Wilbur Graves. This video is going to be so long if I carry on waffling on about all of the different things. Their blooms are pretty, but they're quite simple, kind of a pale, maybe, are they? I think they're a white, like a pale white, maybe a subtle pink to them with the kind of pinky red bit in the middle, but they are fuzzy, which is cute. Right, okay, let's see if we can talk about these next few a bit quicker, because we're on like 45 minutes. I've not even made a dent in the entire collection. This is my Hoya Obovata Splash. I do not have a photo of the blooms because I'm pretty sure they're on my Hoya Obovata, the green one, which you'll see at some point. This is what it looks like. I don't think it's faded. When I got it, like, this one's a bad one for fungus gnats. I feel like it might have been, or I feel like the pink's not quite coming across on camera as much as it does in real life. When I got it, it was definitely this really pretty, like, pinky, purpley, mauve kind of sunstress to the splash, which I do enjoy. I don't mind if it completely goes. I think it has faded. Maybe I should try and get it a bit closer to the grow light. Anyway, I was worried this was one that was not doing anything, but it has recently been pushing out some growth. It's taken its sweet time, but honestly, this like the vine section is so thick. Like when it first started coming out, it was like this tiny little like nub, and it's really thickened out. There's 2 leaves there, and obviously the like continuation vine. I'm really excited. Like I know genetics on Hoya don't always stick, so like just because I've got this really splashy leaf, it doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of like the growth will be splashy, but like fingers crossed. Because I love obviously this one's a bit of a funky shaped one, but I love a big round leaf in the Hoya world. Big fan. In this tiny little tea light pot, I have a Hoya Caudata, I can't ever say this one, Caudata Sumatra, and then I've also got a stick. So I bought these off of the same Etsy seller, and the stick is supposed to be at Hoya dennisii, but sadly the way the seller had packed it, both of the leaves had snapped off, or maybe it's just one leaf, I can't remember, but the leaf had snapped off. I'd sent them a message and I said like, I'll still try, like I've had luck with wet sticks before with Hoya, it's been fine. They said they've also had good luck with wet sticks with Hoya, but that they would replace it. It was over the Christmas period when this like messaging back and forth was going on, and they said, if you don't receive anything, please let me know, like I've just forgotten. And I didn't ever receive a replacement. And in my head, I'm like, should I... Sorry, that's a fungus. I didn't get it. Damn it. Like, I keep thinking I should let that seller know that they didn't replace it. Like, part of me, I don't know if I care, but I feel like I really like the blooms on the dennisii. I can't remember what they look like. But I've got the Caudata Sumatra, which... I've just lost the hook. The blooms are these fuzzy pink ones, which are absolutely gorgeous. So I got the 2 cuttings. It's another one of those like prehistoric ones. It started pushing out new leaves. I'm very excited. I don't know what's going on with this whole tendril. I think these 2 little spikes are new leaves, but they've been there for a little while and this one started pushing out. So I don't know if they've like paused and if they're going to continue or what. But if there is this big gap here with no leaves, at some point I will chop, prop, and hopefully have a couple of vines. But yeah, I've wanted this one for a really long time. Like I remember when I first saw those blooms, those like fuzzy, feathery blooms. I was like, I need that. It's been a couple of years. So yeah, Hoya, Caudata, Sumatra, and a dead stick. Next up is another one that I got in November of last year. I went a little bit crazy, like October, November 2024 was a big couple of months for adding Hoyas in my collection. This is the Hoya Gunung. How do you pronounce this one? Is it Gunung Gading? I've heard people say Gunung Gading. Like Gunung Gading, that just like bounces out of your mouth, and I love it. But I don't know if that's how you pronounce it correctly. This one's it's a shiny one. It's so veiny. Like, I feel like it looks like how I used to draw leaves as a child. Like, the kind of like the shape, you just do, you know, the leaf shape, the veins. Like, I love it. For a really long time, this one didn't do anything, but it has started pushing out some growth. There's a growth point on both sides activated. You can't really see this one, but this one's doing well. I'm excited. Not the most exciting blooms on this one. They give me like, I suppose they're similar to the finlaysonii. Not my fave, but yeah, I'm here for the foliage. Here for the foliage on this one. This next one is one that I've just put loads of water in and filled it up too much because it's in fluval and I didn't realise how dry it had gotten. But this is the Hoya Collina IR26 or 26, which is a new one to my collection. Ooh, that I now can't show you properly because otherwise I'm going to spill water everywhere. But it's a little round leaf one with a little bit of splash. It reminds me of another one that I've got in my collection that I can't remember the name of right now, but it's one that I got from Plantopus. And I think the photo it had, like they had on the website, it was just, I remember really liking the photo, and that's why I've got it. But I don't think... Oh no, wet fluval on the floor. If you don't know fluval, it breaks down really easily. Luckily I've got a dark carpet, but I'm going to let that dry before I attempt to clean it up. Oh, I think it has been rooting. These are new roots back here, so that's good. Quite a simple little flower, kind of like a buttery yellow with like a pinky red middle. I'm going to put it down because I'm going to spill. I'm really trying to go fast. This next one is an eBay purchase from September of last year, and I don't know how well this one's doing. I can't see any roots on it. The leaves, are they dehydrated? They've got to be, surely. I don't know if this one's going to do anything, which I'm really, really gutted about. It is the Hoya Scortichinii, and it's these gorgeous long leaves, really beautiful splash. It's like a speckly starry night kind of splash, and then these are the blooms. How adorable are they? So cute. And yeah, I don't think it's doing anything. I did cut it up, so there's a wet stick in here, but I also don't think that's really doing anything. No, that's definitely dead. I really want this one to be okay. I don't know, but send rooting vibes. I've had it since September last year, and I don't see any roots anywhere. I've really got to speed up because my friend has texted me to say that she is done with what she was doing this morning, and I'm meeting her after she's done. But I've got 1, 2, 3 I think left to show you, so let's just do those, and I might be a little bit late. This is the Hoya Optimistic. This isn't all I've got of the Optimistic. I have got another section of it rooting in water. This bit is in pond. It is very fuzzy, and it started it started growing a new shoot, which I'm very excited about. I got this in October 2024 I got this one, the Hoya Optimistic, and another Hoya called the Hoya Philura off of eBay, and the Philura died, and I'm a bit devastated by it. Whilst I'm not the biggest fan of like the leaf shape on that one, or even I don't think the growth pattern, the blooms on that one were beautiful, like this really bright yellow, if I'm remembering correctly. But the Optimistic, I was saying that because I connect both those two in my head because of this one, like I brought them together. Anyway, I keep thinking I'd like to replace the one that died, but the Hoya Optimistic is a hybrid of the Hoya Roosie, which, oh my God. Can you see how many fungus gnats are flapping around in this video? Awful. The Hoya Roosie, which I've got like quoted, so I don't know if that's just because it's named after somebody, or if that's a hybrid again in itself, crossed with the ciliata, and those blooms are big. Can you hang on, let me get the glare off. Where's look the fingers for size comparison. I love it. The size, the shape, and the colour of those blooms. If this thing ever blooms for me, I'll have succeeded. I'll have completed the like Hoya growing level of being a houseplant parent. Like this one, the dennisii. Oh, there's a couple I could say that for. We'll get to them. But yeah, really, really, really one day want that to bloom. Like the size of them, like they literally look like they're like the size of this, like a 50p piece here in the UK. Like this is another one with big blooms. This is one that I like how I connect the Optimistic and the Philura in my head because I got them off the same eBay seller. I got this one with the Scortichinii off of the same eBay seller, and this is the Griffithii. Griffithii. Yeah, I forget which way round the and the go. Griffithii, and it is this beautiful dark. It's very rigid, like very thick, beautiful dark long leaves with these beautiful splashes, and it has So this section, it had a really long tendril that I cut and I put in, so that was like a wet stick. I assume it's rooted because that section has started pushing out a new leaf just up here, which is exciting. But the bottom cutting has also, how do I show you? This leaf here is off of that bottom cutting, and then there's a new vine with another new leaf. They're really dark leaves, like really, really dark. And now that I've pulled it out, hang on. Now that I've pulled it out from where it is, because it's kind of like tucked in on the shelf, I can't really see what this one's looking like up here, but this one does look like it might have some splash coming through as well, which, like, can you see what I mean? Like, you can't really see the silver on there, but I think it might end up being quite a nicely splashed one, which is very exciting. I don't think this is like Griffithii splash. There might be that version of this, but it's another one with big blooms. Like, look at the hand behind it. Like, simple in their colour, but humongous. I bet all of these really big bloomed ones are like impossible to get to bloom, but a girl can dream, right? Okay, so the last one that I'm going to be talking about in this filming session is my Hoya Wilbur Gay, which I think is one I got off of eBay. Yep, October 2024, when I was doing my eBay and Etsy, like literally scrolling any free given moment to see if there was any new listings for Hoyas. This one is done really well. It is in a soil substrate and I need to put some more water in there, but it's one that has, oh, has this got a different name? I have a feeling this might get called something else as well. But it's got the like beautiful, it's quite a simple shaped leaf, but the sun stressing is very, very beautiful in pink. So it came with these two leaves. Oh, that's a better angle. Look how pretty. You're dropping stuff on the floor. Came with these two leaves, and as you've probably spotted, we've got a tendril and two new leaves come in. This one is quite close to the grow light. I cannot currently see any splash on it. I'm not worried yet. Like I've said, sometimes you can't see the splash, but it might not come, I don't know. These are the blooms. It looks like a very pale green with a beautiful pink section in the centre. Hey gang, it's a couple of days later and we're going to dive straight into the next Hoya. So this is my Hoya erythrina. I think that's how you pronounce this one. I got this one from Grow Tropicals a little while ago, according to my little card, in February 2024, so February of last year. I do need to chop this one because it's growing off the trellis. I think I got it as just these four plants down here. Four leaves down here. It's two different plants. And it's grown really well, in my opinion. It's grown these two vines. This one back here is this vine. So there's actually no leaves on it until it gets to up here. So I'm gonna chop that back, but it has, I noticed this morning, it has got this new leaf here growing, so I'm going to wait for that one to like finish growing and hardening off. I did spot a baby aphid on it, so I will be keeping a close eye. I know that some of my Hoyas have had aphids. One of my non-Hoya plants in that area got aphids really bad and I didn't realise until obviously it was too late and they had spread, so I'm spending a lot of time just spotting aphids and getting rid. They are a tricky bug to get rid of. I've had them before in the past on like one plant, blasted it in the shower and they were like completely gone. Like I thought, oh, aphids are really easy to get rid of. Not the case. Not the case. And like, how do they even travel so fast? Because some of them don't even have wings, like some of them do not fly. I'm just a bit puzzled. But yeah, I do plan on chopping that tendril and potting it into the bottom to make a bit more of a fuller plant. This tendril has got 2 leaves, one here and one here, and then this little vine pops out, and then it's got a new tendril coming up here, which I did see some aphids on this morning too. They really like the new growth. But I love this Hoya. I love the veininess. Oh, you can really see it on that leaf. Look at that. That 3D veining, I am such a fan of. Such a fan. Look at it. I really, really love it. And it gets these like really interesting patterns on the back, which I also really love. What's that? Oh, an aphid exoskeleton. Nice. Yeah, I really like that kind of, I don't know if it's like a sun stressing or what, you can't really see it on the front. But I really love this one. The flowers, the picture I've printed off is not, it's like didn't print off very clear. So I don't know if you'll be able to see. I can't even really tell what they are. They don't look that exciting though on there. But this is definitely one that I've got for the leaves. I really, really, really love these leaves. They're just so cool. I have started editing the first part of this video, and I know that's already really long, so I know I need to be much faster with talking about these Hoyas. So this next one is my Hoya Obovata, which is looking really sad actually. I didn't realise how sad it was looking until I pulled it out, but this front section is so lime. It's not supposed to be that colour. Like, it's always been, I think even when I showed it last year, it's always been like this section at the front has been lighter, and then these 3 leaves at the back have been darker, and I've always said I want more dark leaves. I'm not having a good hair day. It's stressing me out a bit. Anyway, I've always said I prefer the darker leaves than these lighter ones. It is the same plant. Well, I say that. There is 2, like there's, so this kind of section is one, but then there are these leaves here that are attached to this darker one, so it's not like the dark leaves are a plant on their own and then the lighter section is another plant. Like I don't completely know what's going on. I haven't seen any pests on it. It probably just needs to be treated a bit better. I haven't repotted it in a very long time, and it definitely needs to be like probably like a soil refresh. What I might do is actually chop this one up and see what this would like, what new plants would grow from it. This top section, I have noticed since pulling it down, does have, there is a new leaf just there growing, which is exciting. And up here, this actually looks like it could be a peduncle, and then a new leaf strand. I literally don't know what's going on. The flowers are quite simple on this one, little white ones with the pinky red inside. I have such big dreams for a massive, beautiful Obovata, and this one's just not, it's just not quite getting there yet, but who knows, maybe one day. Next up is this beauty. I spoke about this one last year as well. I don't have a Hoya, I don't have an ID for this one. It was ordered in as, I think, it's really hard. I used to have a shop. We used to import plants from Indonesia. They weren't always labelled the best. I remember in this ordering, there was a Hoya Meredithii and a Hoya Tangimus, and I was never really sure which one this was, but I always thought it looked a little bit more like the Meredithii, so I've kind of called it that. But I just don't know. I've got no idea what it is. It's never bloomed for me, so that's not like added to the kind of clues that I have. All I have is the leaf shape, really. It's one that's in soil. I really enjoy the leaf shape. I love the kind of like the length of the leaf, and it ends in this point. I love the veining on it. This is one of the newest leaves it's got coming out, so you can see it kind of comes out with like an orangey browny colour. This one is still it's not fully hardened off, but like that veining, isn't that insane? So cool. It does have this tendril coming up here, which yesterday I did actually spot a mealybug on, like one random mealybug, which isn't ideal, but it's there. What I also really like about this particular Hoya is, I don't know if I'll be able to capture it, the tendril itself is like dotty and it's a little bit textured. It's got like a red kind of speckling to it, which I really appreciate. The midrib down the back is a really dark purple. This isn't, oh wait, I can't get to it. This white thing is not a mealybug, by the way, it's just part of the plant. But yeah, it's a really dark purple midrib down the back, kind of more red when it's coming in. It's a really pretty one. I just don't know what it is. I'm really sorry. There was like a couple of comments on the video last year of people being mad that I didn't know all the IDs, but I can't help it if they didn't come to me with a correct ID. This next one, I actually want to show these two together because I feel like they do look similar. So this is the one I was just showing you. Like if we look at the, it's so strange, isn't it, when you're like looking at plants, you're like, oh yeah, they look really similar, and then you look at them on like a camera lens and you're like, oh, they're so different. The veining is completely different on these. I think it was just the leaf shape for a little period of time there, like, ooh, the leaf shape looked a bit similar, but actually the veining is very different. Scrap that. Like, I was wondering if that one was like some kind of hybrid of this one, but maybe not. Sorry if you didn't hear it. Oh, my mic's been upside down that whole time. Hopefully those 12 minutes are okay. This is my Hoya species Saba, which I purchased from Grow Tropicals. Was this in February? Oh, it was August last year. It's a very thin leafed Hoya. This is probably one of my thinnest. It came with this kind of cluster down here. They're like really thin. This is a thirsty Hoya, but it has pushed out so much new growth. I think some of it, like, it is quite a light coloured Hoya anyway, but I think some of it might be a little bit bleached. I do really enjoy it though. This leaf is still hardening off. Look at that like serrated edge. Can you see that? That's so cool. It's got 3 tendrils. This one has died off up here. I think I underwatered it at one point. That one died off. This one, there's 3 plants. So this one, I definitely want to chop it. Like, there's no, these are the first 2 leaves. It starts growing from like down there. It's branched at the top here. And then there's this one here, which has these leaves down here, but it's blank at the top. If you let this one dry out even a little bit, it starts to drop the new leaves that it's growing. So there are a couple of nodes that are empty. But yeah, Hoya species Saba. This is what the blooms look like. It reminds me of like the finlaysonii ones I'm not the biggest fan of. So I'm not massively fussed if this one doesn't bloom for me, but I do appreciate its foliage. I just need to, like, it bugs me when there's these big gaps, so I will drop it down. This next one is an absolute favourite. Like, I did consider ranking this video when I first like actually started gearing myself up to film it. I was like, should I rank them like least favourite to favourite? But I couldn't. This video was already really daunting to film, let alone ranking it. But this one would definitely be up there, very near the top. This is my Hoya species Welsh Mountain Zoo. Is that the right way around? Hoya Welsh Mountain Zoo? I don't know. I bought it as the plant below this point from eBay. It's dirty but so fuzzy. I love this plant. Oh my god, it looks so bad. It is like a bit dusty, but it is also a very fuzzy Hoya, so like I feel like it looks dustier than it actually is, but it's fluffy on both sides. I appreciate that so much. I love the fuzz. I think it's beautiful. It has started growing for me, so like I said, I bought it from like here downwards, and it shot out this tendril. These leaves, are they not stunning? Like, look at those. I don't know if I think they probably are hardened off. They are just a bit lighter than the other ones. That could be because they're closer to the light than the other ones were. But I love them. You can see the kind of like veining in them. Oh, you can really appreciate that ruffled edge. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? And it has, when it started growing the rest of this tendril, it was wrapping around at one point, and I was like, yes, that's amazing. And then it just unwrapped itself. Have you like seen the time lapses of them like swinging around? Like, it just unwrapped itself, and now it's growing up and off and behind the shelf behind it, which is not great. Don't completely know what to do about that, but we've got another 2 set of leaves there, and I guess there'll be another 2 set there. But this, like, the tendril itself is fuzzy, and it's definitely like, it's a good one if you like to pet your plants, because it's just stunning. I really, really appreciate this one. Really appreciate it, and it's been a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I got it in November of last year, and the blooms are these pretty pink ones, which I'm excited about. They're really cute. I feel like they would look really, really pretty against, I feel like that I feel like that pink would look really pretty against the dark fuzzy leaves. I can't get this back right round. There we go. So yeah, really, this is absolutely a big favourite. I might actually try and take a photo of those leaves and put them on Instagram. Oh, actually do a post. This next one is another one that I've seen an aphid on. So annoying. So I'm gonna have to like keep an eye. This is the Hoya flagellata, which I purchased from Grow Tropicals in December 2023, and I purchased this one because it reminded me of the Caudata Sumatra, which you've already seen, I think. Yeah, it is on that first shelf. You've already seen I've got a tiny little like cutting of it now, but this one has really similar leaf shapes, and the bloom is quite similar. Did I even talk about the bloom on the Caudata Sumatra? I can't remember if I did. Like, that's one that's got really, really fuzzy, gorgeous blooms. I don't feel like I did. Like, it's stunning, but these are a bit similar. They're not quite as fuzzy, but they're really cute, and the leaf shape of these is really similar. I was a little bit disappointed at first, because when I first got it, it had that kind of like serrated edge, the crinkles, the kind of like dusty, crusty vibes to it. And then the leaves that started growing in my care were like flat. There was no kind of serrated edge to them. And I mean, they haven't really, none of them have really gone serrated. Like, can you see the difference? Like, how round these edges are, and then these are really not. Can you see? I don't know what I've done wrong, but I enjoy the bits that have grown all of this in my care in their own right. They have got like a subtle kind of fuzziness to them. Some of the ones getting close to the light are getting a little bit sun stressed, which I don't hate on this plant. There's a new leaf here. It is quite a, I'd say it was quite a thirsty one, but it also seems to be quite a chilled one. Oh, you see that? Aphid. I'm not really a fan of squishing aphids with my fingers. It really does depend on the size. Like, some of them are just a bit too juicy for me to squish, but that one was okay. But yeah, Hoya flagellata. Up next, this is my Hoya latifolia. This is the one that I got from Claire from the Jungle Haven, at the another plant swap Bristol, which I've already spoken about. It's done quite well for me. I think when I got it, it had these two leaves, and this little one here was like still kind of soft and obviously didn't reach its full potential. So it's pushed out these 3 leaves in my care, which are quite cool. It's interesting that this one's quite flat compared to the other ones, which are quite pillowy. The 3 at the top that it's grown in my care have started to sun stress, so I've moved it recently to a higher up place so it's closer to the light, and they've got a little sun tan going on, which I'm not mad about. It has got, I have wondered if this one's had flat mites or has flat mites. I feel like I'm very paranoid that there are just flat mites all over my Hoya cabinet. Whenever I've looked under my microscope, I can't see anything. But I know that doesn't mean that they're not there. But there's just a couple of like, there's like, I don't know if you'll be able to see, there's a growth point here, and there's a growth point here. And they look like, from what I've seen in other videos, like where a growth point's trying to get going and then it just can't, like it's like it keeps trying and it just keeps getting like eaten. And I feel like that looks like what's going on here. So I'm a little bit concerned about it, but I thought it had flat mites even before it pushed out these leaves. So it has managed to push out new leaves that are like perfect, even with potential flat mites. And it is currently pushing out this tendril here, which is quite long, and decided that the top right here is where it wants to push out some new leaves. So they're there. They look like they're doing okay currently. Woo. Obviously I'll keep you updated. This is what the blooms look like on this one. They look like they're quite big, but I haven't got, like, there's no hand in the photo to really tell if they're big or not, but they're quite a nice colour. They look juicy, so be nice if that one did ever bloom for me. But yep, Hoya, what's this? Latifolia, Hoya latifolia. I feel like I'm going through these so much faster than I did on Monday, which is good, but it makes me want to like refilm Mondays so that it can all just be this kind of fast pace, because there's so many more to go through. But I probably won't do that. Fungus nut traps. So this is my Hoya soligamiana, and this is one that I primarily got for the blooms, but I do appreciate the leaves. So it's another one that I got from Grow Tropicals. Honestly, Grow Tropicals do have some really good Hoyas. I almost always have my cart full of Hoyas, and I just, every now and then I hit checkout. So I got this one August last year. I got it primarily for the blooms, but I do really appreciate the leaves. It came with, if I lift those two up, it came with those leaves down there, and quite quickly started pushing out a new tendril with these leaves, which you can see have got some sun stressing, which is new, but I love the length of these leaves. Look how long that is. The veining's really interesting on them too, and it does some sun stressing, which is cute. It's tendrilled quite far, and all of these leaves have grown in my care. All of these ones like down here have been perfect. Seriously, I love the veining. Like, how interesting is that? Like this kind of mid-rib that goes like and splits into these really long veins. That's so cool. Yeah, all of these ones look pretty good. This one's got some nice sun stress going on. Got this one here. And then these top 3 look a bit funky. Like, what's going on here? Again, this is one that I've checked for flat mites and I can't see them. It's got some interesting patterns on the back, which I think is probably not related to the weird funky shapedness. I think that's probably more the sun stressing. Sorry about the fungus nut trap. We are in reality over here. But yeah, again, this is one I've checked for flat mites and I can't see any flat mites on. and I can't see any aphids or mealybugs or anything like that. It's got a point of new growth here, so this little like bit here, and then there's a point of new growth up here too, and then there is a single new leaf on the end here that is considering growing. And I noticed when I pulled it out, there's a whole new tendril just there that's popped out of the soil. Don't completely know what's going on there, but I'm glad to see it. It looks pretty good. So yeah, the blooms are like, I've seen a couple of different photos of the blooms and I really love them both, but I don't know what one I've got. So I've got there's two different photos. So there's the like yellowy orangey ones with the bright pink, and then there's these green ones with purple, and I really love it. I think I prefer the green and the purple just because that's a little bit more unusual for a flower, but I'd be happy with either. I just would love it to bloom. I don't know what to do about the kind of funky leaves. Like, I was considering chopping it. It's obviously not, this support is not really doing anything for it. Like, I need to do something with this Hoya because I'm not enjoying the way it's looking. But if I waited, like, this is a problem. A lot of the time when I'm doing like collection videos or tour videos, I really want to wait until like I've got all the plants looking exactly how I want them to look. But if I did that, I would never film anything because that's just never going to happen. But yeah, it's not looking perfect, but I do really appreciate this plant. There's a beeping going on outside and I don't know if my mic will be able to cancel that out, so I'm sorry if you can hear it. Up next, I've got my Hoya vitellinoides. It's a big leafed Hoya. This is one I got off of eBay, and when it arrived I was like I knew the photo looked like it was big, but I didn't realize it was this big. Like, this leaf is longer than my hand. Like, if I did fingertip to the end of my hand, it's longer than that, which is really freaking cool. Another good veiny one. So it came with the bottom leaves. Did it come with this one? Yeah, it did come with this one as well. It has put out this leaf in my care, which is a bit of a funky shaped one, and I was a little bit like, oh, is that flat mites? I don't know. It could just be that it was like the first leaf it's put out in my care and it's just had a little bit of a paddy about things. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I did see, yeah, there's a new leaf up here on this tendril. This tendril's dead. I need to chop that back. But there are two different tendrils. Hang on, there's three? What? No, there is two. It's just one that does wrap round all the way. This one did come with like, there was like a little, what looked like a mealybug nest on the back of one of the leaves. So I was really cautious with it when I first got it, but I haven't seen any mealybugs on it since. And as you are aware, there are some plants that already have some mealybugs, so it's not the biggest deal anymore, it doesn't feel like. But I got this one in November 2024. Again, similar flowers to like the finlaysonii, not my favourite, but cute enough. I'd be happy if any of my Hoyas bloomed. But what I should have done is, when I was making these little cards, is made a little note of when the Hoya blooms, because there are some Hoyas that do bloom kind of like repeatedly throughout the year, and they'll just bloom if the conditions are right, or I guess if they're stressed. And then there are some Hoyas that are like winter bloomers, some that bloom in the spring. Like, they don't all bloom when we expect them to bloom. Like, often it's like spring, summer, and we expect it to be like blooming season, but that's not always the case. My linearis, for example, always blooms October, November time. Like, it is an autumnal bloomer, and I love that. But I start to see the peduncles trying to form in the summer. So I see people all the time on social media being like, oh my god, like it's gonna bloom, it's so exciting, and they never, like the summer, like the peduncles that start pushing out, they never bloom in the summer. It does take them a little while to like get to opening, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it's usually November. Like I don't actually know if I've ever had a bloom open in October, but I've had my Miscellaneous bloom loads of times in November, which is not normally a month that we associate blooming here in the Northern Hemisphere. But yeah, Vitellinoides, I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Like, I would love to know with all of these Hoyas when to expect them to bloom, like when to start kind of really hammering down. Like I always spray with orchid mist. I love orchid mist for Hoyas. I think it's a brilliant way to fertilize Hoyas because it helps, because they can absorb the nutrients through their leaves. So, and orchid spray is obviously more to push out blooms, so it really helps when we're trying to get them to bloom. But if you've got like a winter bloomer, there's no point spraying it in the spring because it's probably not going to help it. Another little random tangent, I've got really bad neck at the moment. I've had like a really bad neck on this side, like neck down to shoulder on this side for like the last week, and then this morning, like this is just dying off, and this morning I've woken up with a bad neck on this side. So if I seem really stiff, it's because I am. But this next one, and the last one I'm going to talk about in this little batch, is my Hoya Katzbergii, and I love this Hoya. This would absolutely have to be near the top of my favourites list as well if I were going to rank them. I love it. It was another one that came in when I had the shop from Indonesia. When I had it listed in the shop, no one was buying it, and I couldn't understand why, because it's beautiful. And I, like at the time, literally could not find it available anywhere. Like when you searched for this plant, it was only coming up for like sale in Indonesia. Like it was just non-existent in the UK, Europe or USA. So no one bought it. Like it obviously, it was just so, I guess, unknown that no one was interested in buying it. And that meant I kept it. Obviously I don't have my shop anymore, my shop is shut, so I did end up kind of inheriting some of the plants from the shop that didn't sell, because what else was I gonna do with them? And it's just such a prolific grower. Like this tendril goes round 3, and if I could bend this one the right way, it would be a 4th time, but I can't bend this one. I think I'm just gonna have to chop it, to be honest. You can see there's another tendril here. It's also, it has bloomed for me. I don't think this is my photo, but they were like a really simple kind of bloom. I can't remember if they smelt or not, but they were really sweet, simple bloom, and really, really pretty. And it's actually, like where it bloomed, it's got like 2 heads on the peduncle. Oh, it might not be the right terminology actually. I can't remember which bit the peduncle is. Can you see that there's 2? And there's actually some like buds trying to form to start growing. You've probably spotted it, but there's this peduncle here too. There's another peduncle up here on this tendril. There's another one here. There's one here. There's peduncles all over this thing. Like it has only bloomed once. There's another one here. Did I point that one out already? This is a peduncle. I think it's only bloomed once, but there are lots of peduncles, so there's lots of potential for it to bloom. And it's a round leaf Hoya. I love it when they slightly deform and you get like this little butt or a heart-shaped leaf. There's a couple of those on here. There's another one down here. There's this leaf which is like a freaking square, which I just love. I love this plant. I really, really do. It really needs a repot. It also really needs some water. There's like no water in here. It's been much hotter the last few days, so my plants have been drying out quite a bit. But I think I might end up chopping this one potentially this year. I keep toying with the idea of chopping some Hoyas and some other plants and listing them on eBay. Like I want to share some of the ones that I've got, but it's the like, that bit's fine. It's the having to pack it up and take it to the post office that always puts me off, because I haven't got the like oomph to be able to do that at the moment. Just really randomly wanted to count it. I think there's 9 peduncles on here. That's so cool. Yeah, so Hoya Katzbergii. Sorry about the random rants about possibly selling some plants. I don't know whether I will do that or not. Let me know if you're interested. It might pump me up and get me to have the motivation to do that. Yeah, so this is the last one I'm going to talk about in this little session. So Hoya Katzbergii. Hey gorgeous, I didn't finish filming this video. I'll be splitting my collection video into 2 or maybe even 3 videos, so subscribe so you don't miss the rest of my Hoya collection. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Bye!